My name is Domenick. I'm actually a person in long-term recovery. I'm a recovery coach, professional for CCAR. One of the programs that I work in is the MPD HOPE program that is ran through the Manchester Police Department, and that's what I do. They send me referrals, and I help the people in the community try to find support. So it's predominantly people with opioid use disorder. As soon as they send the referral, it goes directly to me. So when I first got the referral for Tommy, he'd overdosed in the Stop and Shop.
Well, there was a time in my life when I had some bad things going with me. I was having nightmares from my past job as a correction officer, and I'd started with pills and stuff, and then I ended up with heroin and fentanyl and shooting up, and that just was spiraling down out of control. I had overdosed a few times, and then about this time last year was one of the last times, which happened to be in a supermarket store. In the middle of the aisle, I had fell asleep, and Manchester police were contacted, and they had contacted CCAR, and that's where I got a call from Domenick.
I spent the first couple of months just talking and being a friend to him, and being a coach, and like talking about recovery and giving him an outlet to talk about what's going on in his life and why he was continuing to use. I'm not there to tell Tommy what to do for his recovery. I'm there to lead him to what he wants to do for his recovery. And he made his choice that he wanted to go to treatment. So we got everything set up for him to go to treatment. And he had to move some stuff downstairs and whatever else the day he had to go to treatment. And I'm up early, I had to go do something, and I think I had to meet somebody or drop something off real quick in Manchester anyway. And I was like, okay, let me drop that off. I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna go all the way back home. Something told me just to go to his house then.
Domenick had come to my house, and I was up in my room, and I was just completely out of it. From what I hear, it was really bad.
Going to treatment's a big step for somebody, and I wanted to make sure Tommy was going to be okay. So I went over there, and I couldn't get in. The door was locked, and he wasn't answering the door. So I called the guy that owned the house, which I happened to know. And I said, hey, something's going on, man. You gotta come over here. You gotta open the door. Me and the gentleman went upstairs, and we found Tommy in his room.
He had come up to the room, and I was just, almost gone.
The room was completely destroyed, and Tommy was slightly coherent. So we picked him up, we got him downstairs. I called up the Manchester Police Department and asked them to come right away. They sent the EMS and were able to basically take care of Tommy. But thank God I did, because he slipped into a coma when he got to the hospital.
I spent 3 to 4 weeks in the hospital in ICU in a coma for a couple of weeks. And if I hadn't have met Domenick, I don't know if I'd still be here, because he was the person that came over to my house and found me in my room. And luckily we had built up some kind of rapport and stuff beforehand, because if he didn't come over my house that day, there's no way that I would have probably been here. So he came over, and he was able to call the ambulance, the hospital, and get me over to the hospital.
I was in constant contact with his brother. Almost every day he called me while Tommy was in the hospital, and trying to make sure I was still gonna. I was like, of course I'm still gonna help him, man. I'm like, let's just link it up. So me and his brother kind of worked on when he was gonna get out. His brother called me every day to let me know what was going on.
Well, Domenick came to the hospital to see me, and he was able to get a hold of Sunrise down in New Jersey and set up the appointment, and the treatment plan, took care of the insurance, and it was a pretty smooth transition from the hospital in New Jersey. And even after that, from New Jersey, I went to New Hampshire. And when I came home from there, he helped me get into the sober house that I live at now in West Hartford. And it was easy because there's no way that I would have found that stuff myself. I just wouldn't have.
We got him in from door to door to door, and Tommy's been clean ever since, man. I couldn't be more prouder of him.
Well, now I'm a little under 2 months away from getting my year clean and sober. Now I go to 4 or 5 meetings a week. I work with a couple different agencies that are helpful in my recovery. When I think back to the time, when I first met Domenick, I'm just not that person anymore. I'm just not.